1. Flat, concave, spherical, hollow, and expanding Earth. Everything solved in catastrophe. The 100% correct working model of everything and the coming worldwide catastrophe. With 100% certainty, a worldwide catastrophe is headed our way. It can only happen on a certain date and in a particular year. Civilization will end from this catastrophe and then be rebuilt. I know because our true history shows it has happened dozens of times. The New World Order is not what everyone thinks it is. I will explain everything so you can prepare for the catastrophe and the New World Order / Golden Age that will follow. Time is becoming very short, and we will explain who, what, where, when, why, and how. All your questions will be answered through my 100% correct working model of everything. Here's a picture of St. Peter's Square at the Vatican, the world's most accurate and important sundial to monitor the sun and time, the real doomsday clock. After I teach you everything and what the sun really is, then you will know the only time the catastrophe can happen. Why does the Vatican have a sundial? It lets the elect / controllers know when the days are being shortened. And except those days should be shortened, there should be no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Matthew 24:22, King James Version. To begin, you must understand you know nothing. We all were wrong. You must humble yourself completely to know the truth. Then you can attain true wisdom. You must unlearn what you have learned. Yoda. The eyes can't see what the mind doesn't know. Unknown. The plane you live on is flat. The world it sits in is concave and expanding. The structure it resides in is spherical and hollow. The Holy Grail, the one and only true answer to everything in your world. We will explain it all to you. I didn't want to be first, I wanted to be 100% correct. No one on YouTube is even close to figuring it all out. The scarier part is neither are the controllers. I'm an inventor, and I've been working on the correct model of everything for nearly 40 years. This one simple model is the key to all knowledge and wisdom. I have partnered up with Mia, and we're going to tell you the real truth. No theories, no beliefs, just the facts of your world solely based on real science and your true history. We will teach you everything through the videos on these channels. Mia's new pair of glasses, my new pair of glasses, and Brian Austin Lambert 33. All 30 to 50 videos will be around 3 to 5 minutes, short, concise, and simple. The real answers are simple, so no need for complicated false answers like the controllers do. Doubt us now, but you will know it is the truth when we are finished. To navigate the YouTube pitfalls, we will not show any video clips or play any music. We will provide all the links to any and all resources needed to help you see the complete truth. Every word and image I show is important and used for a very deliberate purpose. To gain the truth, you must fully understand everything I show you. The truth is simple once you know it, but getting there can be tough. There is much to learn, so we will post new videos as soon as possible. Subscribe, tell your friends, let everyone know about the truth and the channels. Part 2. Flat, concave, spherical, hollow, and expanding Earth. Water and the flat plane. I seek the truth because my curiosity exceeds my desire to prove myself right. There's more to this world than you think. Unknown. Occam's razor. No more things should be presumed to exist than are absolutely necessary, i.e., the fewer assumptions and explanation of the phenomenon depends on, the better the explanation. William of Occam. Words and definitions are crucial for understanding the truth. Synonyms for horizon: flat, level, plane, smooth, even, straight, parallel. Definition of sea level: having a flat or even surface. Called sea level for a reason. It is level and flat. The controllers have always lied to you, but water has never lied to anyone. Ever. The surface of still water is flat and will always be flat. Water will always fill the container it is in. Water will always seek its own level. Water cannot lie. It's flat. Over 70% of the surface of the earth is water. Water is the most important proof of the shape and structure of your planet. This is what really happens to water on a spinning or rotating ball. Water will always tell you the truth if you are willing to see and listen. The answers are easy to see if you ask the right questions. Ask any pilot how they account for the curvature of the earth. They do not account for the curvature. It's simple, because there is no curvature, up or down. The surface of the plane is flat. Always flat. Empty your mind, be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water in a cup, it becomes a cup. You put water in a bottle, it becomes a bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes a teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend. Bruce Lee. Diamagnetism of water is extremely important for understanding the truth. This is an image of a strong magnet in a bowl of water. Magnetic fields repulse water. Electromagnetism is the one and only force in the cosmos. I will do separate videos on diamagnetism and electromagnetism at a later date. You have to understand the structure of the world you live on. The flat surface to the plane is the key to the puzzle. You can't play chess without the chessboard. When you accept the true flat structure, then the other pieces of the puzzle will fall into place. Water shows you the truth about the flat plane you live on. There is a lot more to the overall structure, but understanding the flat surface is an absolute crucial starting point for the truth. Part 3. Flat, concave, spherical, hollow, and expanding Earth. The motionless, fixed, and stationary plane. Once you start speaking your truth, you can't stop. It demands to be screamed in every aspect of your life and will not remain hidden. Once you have been awakened, you can never go back to sleep. Unknown. The Holy Grail. Motionless, stationary, and fixed. A bowl of soup. The best analogy of how the Earth's surface takes its form. The bowl confines the matter and liquids. The broth is akin to the sea level of the oceans and the food akin to the continents. Why do the controllers love to make things more complicated than they are? Because there is no money in the truth. The simple answer to the truth would make their religious, educational, and other institutions pointless and profitless. The truth could be taught in a single year to an 11-year-old child. No need for 13 to 21 years of indoctrination in schools. Science, an experiment that is observable and repeatable. Theoretical science is not science. It is junk and you can throw it out with the trash. There has never been any repeatable or observable science experiment that confirms any movement of the Earth. But yet they feed everyone this garbage like in this image of our solar system traveling through space. Current accepted heliocentric model. Earth spins 1,000 miles per hour. Earth revolves around Sun 67,000 miles per hour. Sun revolves around Milky Way galaxy 514,000 miles per hour. Universe expanding 1.3 million miles per hour. And yet, water can be completely motionless. Remember, water does not lie, yet the controllers always have. The Earth does not spin. The oceans are one of many proofs. If the Earth were spinning, water would flow from the polar regions on the axis of spin towards the equator. Then the water would fly off the spinning object at the equator, just like in this picture. Fluid dynamics, the flow of gases and liquids while in movement. The waters and atmosphere of the Earth would not stay in place if the Earth were traveling in 4 different directions at 4 different incredible speeds. Fluid dynamics clearly shows us that the Earth is not moving at all. It is motionless, fixed, and stationary. But so is all matter in our cosmos. I will explain in a later video. Yes, it really is this simple. KISS. KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Complicated theories and fancy mathematics or common sense. You decide. 1 Chronicles 16:30 King James Version. Fear before him, all the earth. The world also shall be stable, that it be not moved. Psalms 104:5 King James Version. Who laid the foundations of the earth, that it should not be removed forever. To all the geocentrists out there, no, we are not the center of the cosmos. We are one small disk of many multitudes. I will explain more in a future video. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Every cowboy. We can only show you the truth, but it is up to you to accept it. Part 4. Coriolis effect explained. Bullets and spinning objects, the Magnus effect on the flat Earth. How does our model correctly account for the Coriolis effect on bullets and long-range shooting? Again, the answer is simple, and the controllers got it wrong. They officially call it the Coriolis effect, but it is not. Here's a diagram of the official explanation of the Coriolis effect on bullets. The apparent deflection of a body in motion with respect to the Earth and caused by the rotation of the Earth. Deflecting right in the northern hemisphere and deflecting left in the southern hemisphere. The official explanation is complete rubbish. The Earth does not spin, rotate, or move. The Earth is motionless, fixed, and stationary. The Holy Grail, a cup or bowl. We will explain more in future videos. Rifled barrels are used to create the spin of the bullet. The spin stabilizes the bullet in flight, but also creates the deviation from the expected path of flight. Here's a diagram of what happens to a bullet in a rifled barrel and then a smooth bore barrel. The real answer, the Magnus effect. As the ball is spinning, there's friction created on one side, and then the air flows freely on the other side. Magnus effect, the force exerted on a rapidly spinning cylinder or sphere moving through air or another fluid in a direction at the angle to the axis of spin. This force is responsible for the swerving of balls when hit or thrown with spin. A spinning rifle bullet, Magnus effect, not Coriolis effect. The Magnus effect on spinning rifled bullets work the same as spinning balls in forward motion. Again, like always, the answers are simple. Another diagram of air flowing over a spinning ball. Examples of the Magnus effect: baseball pitches, curve, slider, fastball; tennis, topspin, slice, drop shot; golf, draw, fade, cut, slice, etc. Sideways spin or a spiral action will deviate left or right, as in a football or rifled bullet, depending on the rotation of spin. A front to back or back to front spin will deviate up or down. Think top spin or backspin on a tennis ball. Great video demo on the Magnus effect. A guy dropping a basketball from a dam. Link will be in the description. Part 5, Coriolis effect explained. Airplanes and the Magnus effect on the flat Earth. For every good reason there is to lie, there is a better reason to tell the truth. Bo Bennett. How come airplanes are not affected by the Coriolis effect while in flight? Before we begin, let's recap the Coriolis effect. Here's the silly diagram from the controllers again, the official explanation of the Coriolis effect. The apparent deflection of a body in motion with respect to the Earth and caused by the rotation of the Earth. Deflecting right in the northern hemisphere and deflecting left in the southern hemisphere. This is how ridiculous the controller's models are. They say the Earth moves in 4 different speeds and 4 different directions of movements. However, they only take into account one for the asinine Coriolis effect. We will teach you how to think again. You have the most powerful weapon in the cosmos, your brain. I suggest you use it. Me, Brian Austin Lambert. Just a reminder, the Earth does not spin, rotate, or move. The Coriolis effect is an incorrect description of the deviated paths of objects in motion. Remember, the Earth is motionless, fixed, and stationary. The Holy Grail is a bowl, cup, or platter, whichever term you prefer. The Grail is the concave structure that confines your world. We will go into greater detail in future videos. Now back to the question, how come airplanes are not affected by the Coriolis effect while in flight? Again, the answer is simple, because airplanes do not spin. Airplanes do not experience any deviation in their expected path because the Magnus effect does not apply to things that do not spin. No spin equals no Magnus effect equals no deviation in expected path. Recap of the Magnus effect. Magnus effect, the force exerted on a rapidly spinning cylinder or sphere moving through air or another fluid in a direction at the angle to the axis of spin. The force is responsible for the swerving of balls when hit or thrown with spin. Simplicity, the key to understanding everything. Part 6, Coriolis effect explained. Hurricanes and magnetohydrodynamics on the flat Earth. Hurricanes, cyclones, and typhoons are just different names for cyclical storm systems depending on which part of the world they occur. Cyclical storms are caused by electromagnetism in a process called magnetohydrodynamics, and not by the Coriolis effect of a spinning Earth. The Earth does not spin, rotate, or move. It's motionless, fixed, and stationary. Here's a diagram of how storm systems move in the northern and southern hemisphere. Counterclockwise in the north, clockwise in the south. Everything from the North Pole to the equator is of one polarity or charge. And conversely, everything from the equator to the South Antarctic ring is of the opposite polarity or charge. One polarity or charge in the north and the opposite polarity or charge in the south. In a future video, we will explain the true magnetic structure. Once again, theoretical science got it wrong. Again, remember what science really is, an experiment that is observable and repeatable. Theoretical science is not real science. It is a religious belief system. Real science, electromagnetism. Electromagnetism is the one true force in the cosmos. That is why you only have gadgets that are powered by electricity. Gravity and the others are bollocks. Don't worry, we will explain. Right-hand rule of electricity. Right-hand rule of electricity. Directional flow of electrical current determines direction of spin. Thumb points to direction of current flow, and fingers show the direction of spin. Magnetohydrodynamics, the behavior of an electrically conductive fluid, plasma, molten metals, water, acted on by a magnetic field. In the case of cyclical storms, the conductive liquid would be the salt water of the oceans. Electrical current flow in the polarity of the magnetic field determines rotational spin of storms, not the Coriolis effect. Sorry, Mr. Coriolis, you have been completely debunked. Another theoretical science model down the drain. Short video on how magnetohydrodynamics works and creates the correct spins for the storms on each side of the equator. Link will be in the description. Absolutely vital information to watch and understand can be found at this channel, Mr. Too Tough 2. Sub and watch his videos. I would highly recommend that you watch all of his videos about electricity. The other stuff we will get to and is must for seeing the whole picture of the truth. Part 7. The real meaning of the number 33 on the flat earth. So why am I doing a video about a number in this video series? Because some truthers have an irrational fear of everything at this point, for some very good reasons. I have gotten comments and messages about the number 33. So here is a real reason why 33 is the most important number to the controllers. It is the safest place to be on the flat plane when the catastrophe hits. 33 degrees north latitude. The black line represents the 33rd parallel on a regular map, even though we all know the surface of the Earth is flat. The area around 33 degrees north latitude is where most of the ancient civilization's ruins are located. The inhabitants of those areas were the majority of the survivors after the past catastrophes. Survivability was greater around the band, about 5 to 8 degrees on either side of the 33rd parallel. Almost everywhere else, the cities were completely obliterated with virtually no survivors and no remains whatsoever. I call it the Goldilocks zone because it is the safest area during the catastrophe. I can't show you yet why, because you still have to learn a whole lot more to understand the nature of the catastrophe. That is why the controllers have gone to war in Libya, Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, and wanted to go to war in Iran. All of these nations are on or around the 33rd parallel. They are building bases, bunkers, and shelters to survive the catastrophe in these regions around the 33rd parallel and using war as the cover for their deception. In a future video, I will explain the science of why that area around the 33rd degree parallel is the safest place to be. Stay tuned, it is vital information for planning and preparing for the coming catastrophe. So I thought it would be a good time to address fear. If you have an irrational fear of a number, then this video series will most likely not be for you. Please feel free to leave at any time. I am trying to reach and warn people that are still rational in their thoughts. This video series is not fear porn or entertainment. If you watch YouTube videos to be scared or to be entertained, then this series is not for you. I am trying to get the truth out to people that have eyes to see and ears to hear. I will do a video on why people should not be afraid. The controllers want you afraid, If people are afraid, they can't think rationally. Rational thought is what the controllers are afraid of. So I'm here to help facilitate people in using their brains to think critically and rationally again. Now to the Masons, Illuminati, and other secret societies. The Masons and 33 degrees. It is their degree level in which a mind becomes unfrozen. Water is frozen at 32 degrees Fahrenheit. At 33 degrees, it becomes water and unfrozen. Do these secret societies use 33 as a secret code or something more sinister? It doesn't matter, and I could care less. They do not have the full truth, and they have lost their true history and wisdom. I have never been part of any secret organizations, societies, or clubs. I have absolutely nothing to hide. I am using my full real name in my channel. In an upcoming video, I will give my background to help calm some reservations about who I am. Why do I use 33 in my YouTube account name and elsewhere? Because it was my favorite number since I was a kid, and I'm not changing my favorite number because some people are afraid of it. People, it's just a number. 33 became my favorite number because Georgetown was my favorite college basketball team and Patrick Ewing was my favorite player. He wore 33, so I wanted to wear 33. That is how it became my favorite number and why I still use the number 33. No truther, controller, or anyone else will ever take my number away from me. So hence my love for the number 33. Just a boy who liked the number of his favorite player. If you think there is anything more than that, then I can't help you, and this video series will be of no help to you either. Plus, 33 just so happens to be the most beautiful number ever. I also like these other numbers: 1, 3, 11, 13, 31, 33, 111, 133, 214, 311, 333. Just in case anyone is afraid of colors, my favorite color is blue. If you are worried about my motives, ask yourself this question: when was the last time you voted? I have only voted one time in my life, 1992 presidential election for Ross Perot. Eligible to vote since 1989. I have never voted for a Republican or Democrat. I have been awake at various levels my entire life. I started questioning the system at 7 years old when I walked home from church. When I hear garbage being spewed, I walk away. So why am I revealing the truth on YouTube and making these series of videos with Mia? To clear my conscience. I know what is coming and no one else does, including the controllers. How could I not try telling everyone? Plus, Mia is super fun to work with. I will survive the coming catastrophe because I know exactly how it works. I need other decent people to survive and to help rebuild civilization better and kinder next time. Plus, I really don't want to be the only dude to survive. Then what would be the point? Ecclesiastes 1:17 through 18, King James Version. And I gave my heart to know wisdom, and to know madness and folly. I perceive that this also is vexation of spirit. For in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. Part 8. Catastrophe date and the only date it can happen on the flat earth. So here we are at the point where I answer the most important question you all want to know. When will it happen? The only date that the catastrophe can happen is starting on the winter solstice, December 21st. The Mayans had it right, but the controllers changed the year. You are actually not in the year of our Lord 2018. I will explain in another video. Genesis 1:14, King James Version. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. Here's a diagram of the solstices and the equinoxes throughout the year. Most of you truthers already know this part, but the rest of the masses have no idea. In the northern hemisphere, the sun reaches its most southerly point on the horizon on the winter solstice, and it is the shortest day. Then for 3 days it sets in the exact same spot. On Christmas Eve, if the sun sets heading back north, then nothing will happen and it's just another regular year. However, if the sun moves on a southerly path and then disappears on Christmas Eve, then hold on to your hats because things are going to get real bad. I will go into the science behind it in upcoming videos. When the sun disappears, then an electromagnetic phenomenon of such an unbelievable nature will make the whole world shake and burn, along with many other trials to endure. The Christmas Day catastrophe, the one and only date. Have this picture of this plasma etched into your mind. It's what's coming. On Christmas Eve and into Christmas Day, the electrical plasma event will be seen by the entire world at the top center of the dome that resides above us on our flat plane. That is the real reason why we have traditions of lights on Christmas trees and houses. We use electricity and light to worship and ward off the electrical plasma catastrophe that lit up the entire world. Christmas is not what you have been told. It is absolutely 100% the carried on knowledge of the ancients of the one and only date in the year the worldwide catastrophe can happen. This is why Jesus referred to it as the Son of Man, and why the whole world will witness the coming. When you are on a flat plane, then everyone will see, all at the same time, the plasma event at the very top center of the dome over the flat plane. All cultures describe the exact same event. How do I know the controllers know some of the knowledge but not all of it? Lots of reasons, but here are two examples. SpaceX launch over Los Angeles 22 December 2017, and the Russian rocket launch on 26 December 2017. Day after the solstice and the day after Christmas. They just had the wrong year. They were trying to get out of the dome. I will explain in an upcoming video. Part 9, Catastrophe Year. The shortening of days on the flat earth. Isaiah 13:10, King James Version. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. So what about the year? Let's get back to St. Peter's Square at the Vatican and their sundial. The controllers, or the elect, watch that very closely, as do I. When the days become shortened significantly, then it will be in that year. Remember Matthew 24:22, the shortening of days, see part 1. You have to track time to know when the days are shortened. You need an analog clock, preferably battery powered, that is not tied into the system. The controllers mess with time to conceal the shortening of days from you. That is the real reason for daylight savings time, so they can reset the clocks and the masses are none the wiser to the shortening. We lost 11 minutes last year by my calculations. Now, if you believe in the heliocentric model, then good luck to you and have a Merry Christmas. But when you accept the true structure and mechanisms of the 100% correct working model, then you will have a fighting chance to survive. The sun is so not what you think. The yellow thing we all see in the sky is just the focal point of light through a lens. Optics, no more, no less. The thing that produces that light is a deep subject for later videos. Yes, the sun can and does disappear. The electromagnetic plasma event causes the directional flow of electrical current to change directions. During the changeover, the light we call the sun gets replaced by the plasma, and then the new world order begins. Your sky will no longer be what you see now. I call it the red sky. I will explain in detail in future videos. Now back to the SpaceX and Russian launches on the 22nd and 26th of December of 2017. They launched the day after winter solstice and the day after Christmas. They were spot on the dates, but off on the year. The shortening of days was not great enough for the electrical current and plasma event to happen. They were trying to escape through the gates of heaven, because those are the only dates you can leave your dome-covered plane. The huge plume from the rockets was from them actually piercing the waters above. Yes, people, there are waters above. That is why your sky is blue and your night sky is a very dark blue and not black. The rockets penetrating the waters is exactly the same effect when a bullet penetrates water, except the rocket isn't spinning, so no spiral action on the water. The controllers and the elect can never get it right because they do not have the Holy Grail. I do. It is the base structure of everything in the world, from the micro to the macro and everything in between. I will explain what it is and how it works, but before we get to that point, you have to learn a ton of truths before you get to the ultimate truth. People, you need to learn patience. The truth will be revealed, and the truth shall set you free. To sum up, in what year will the electromagnetic plasma event and catastrophe occur? Only in the year when the days are shortened significantly. You will know if you keep track of time. Part 10, Sun, Movement of Heavenly Bodies on the Flat Earth. The official explanation of the sun. Don't bother reading their text. It's BS. I will sum up their model for you. They think the sun is a nuclear furnace that creates its own energy from nothing, has been burning for billions of years, and will keep on burning for billions more. Also, let's not forget that it moves 514,000 miles per hour around the Milky Way galaxy and 1.3 million miles per hour expanding from the center of the universe, but it stays in a perfectly spherical shape with no tail created from those speeds. Comets have tails. So why do I mention a tail? Because it seems the only thing that moves in space, in their model, that creates a tail are comets. If comets create a tail from them traveling in space, wouldn't it make sense that all things hurtling through space should also have tails, including the sun and Earth? Comets in their model have dust and gas tails, while the Earth has dust and gases, and the sun has gases. With all the different movements and speeds of the heavenly bodies, only comets leave tails in their wake while traveling through space? Just like the Earth, the sun does not move. It is fixed and stationary. However, unlike the Earth, it does spin and rotate, but it is not traveling anywhere. The controllers say this image is of the red rectangle nebula, but this is really what your real sun looks like. This is a pyramid with the all-seeing eye. As above, so below. One pyramid above and one below with the capstone and eye at the connection point. The yellow thing in the sky you see every day is just light. The light comes from this plasma structure at the very center above the dome over the flat plane in the very center of the spherical hollow structure. When you have 6 pyramids all connected together, you get a cube. Then the cube becomes a cross. So 6 pyramids, ancient Egypt, form a cube, Islam, then unfolds into a cross, Christianity. Are you seeing why they worship these symbols? Because they saw them in their sky. This is why the controllers or the Illuminati worship the pyramid with the all-seeing eye. It is what is seen in the red sky after the catastrophe. They are warning their fellow members that the catastrophe is imminent. This is an image of a Vajra. Do your homework on this symbol. I will be doing a video solely on this structure. It is that important to know how the ancients knew this form. Let's recap and sum up what we know so far. Remember, all solid matter in the cosmos does not spin, rotate, or move. All solid matter in the cosmos is also motionless, fixed, and stationary. Not just some of the matter, all solid matter. The sun is fixed and does not move. The earth is fixed and does not move. If all solid matter does not move and the earth and sun do not move, then how does the sun, moon, and stars move from east to west in our sky? If you like riddles, you might want to pause it here to take some time to take a guess before the next slide. Again, the answer is simple. The light moves. Norwegian light spiral anomaly, 9 December 2009. This is a real photo. No worries, I will explain it all. Part 11. Light and optics on the flat Earth. A picture of our sun in the daytime sky. The sun is just light, the focal point of light through a converging lens. Here is light from flashlights. There is no difference between sunlight and light from these flashlights. The sun is just light. Simplicity. Optics, the key to understanding the light we call the sun. The two things you need in optics are light and a lens. A lens is just a transparent object that will reflect or refract light. Glass, ice, and water are all lenses. Glass. Ice. Water. Two types of lenses, a converging lens and a diverging lens. Converging lens is when the light passes through a convex lens and converges inward and crosses paths. Diverging lens is when light passes through a concave lens and diverges and moves away from one another. Total internal reflection. Light reflected and refracted while going through water as the lens. The waters above. Diagram of a convex lens and the focal point. When light goes through the lens, it creates a focal point. In the case of our flat Earth, the waters above is the converging lens that causes the light to converge into the focal point. The circular object you see in the daytime sky we call the sun is just the focal point of the converging light, no more, no less. The focal point of light on converging lens is on the same side of lens as the observer, opposite side of lens for the diverging lens. So focal point would be in the sky, below the lens and above the observer. Genesis 1:16 through 17. And God made two great lights, the greater light the sun to rule the day, and the lesser light the moon to rule the night. He made the stars also, and God set them in the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth. The dome above the flat plane is not the firmament. The sky is the firmament, and the waters above is the lens. The sun is the focal point of light in the sky. Genesis 1:8 King James Version. And God called the firmament heaven. Sky equals firmament equals heaven. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. Part 12, the electromagnetic ice dome on the flat Earth. There is one more part to the optical part to this story, the dome above us. What forms a dome is an electromagnetic process that will be covered in greater detail later in another video. The electromagnetic dome is why the controllers cannot get out until the changeover/catastrophe. It is also why they can only dig to 12.2 kilometers, 7.6 miles deep into the Earth. The electromagnetic dome confines all matter within the dome, and nothing can enter or escape while the electromagnetic dome is up, except one thing: water. Remember, the dome is not the firmament. The sky is the firmament and heaven. Genesis 1, 6-8, King James Version. And God said, "Let there be a firmament in the middle of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven." Remember this picture in part 2, water, showing a very strong magnet repulsing the water. Water is diamagnetic and is repulsed by electromagnetic fields. Charge/polarity does not matter. Water is repulsed by both positive and negative charges/polarities. A section of the electromagnetic field is what separates the waters above from the waters below. Still too early to get into this any deeper, still much to learn before we can go there. Patience. Back to the dome above us. The electromagnetic dome is lined with a transparent lens. That lens is made of ice, not glass. The waters above are frozen at the coldest place, closest to the electromagnetic dome. A picture of two types of ice cubes. The one on the left is opaque and cloudy because it has impurities in the water. The one on the right is crystal clear because it is pure with no impurities in the water, distilled. The pure water creates a crystal clear lens that works just like pure glass in any lens that is man-made. Please go to the link in the description section to view a video on starting fire with ice. The ice is the lens and works like a magnifying glass, a converging lens that converges all light to the focal point. Then the focal point of light ignites the tinder to start the fire. Great survival skill to learn also. There is a huge difference between the waters above and the waters below. Above is pure water and below is impure water. How and why can water be pure above and not below? The waters above, pure, no impurities, even better than top grade distilled water. Because water is made above. A byproduct of plasma arcing is water. Go back to Mr. Too Tough 2 channel and watch Water on the Sun. He's got the EM electromagnetic part figured out, but can't see the truth because he is stuck in the heliocentric model. The waters below, dirty, lots of impurities mixed with all sorts of other matter, and is not pure. Old, recycled water and not newly made. That is why ice is white and cloudy down here. The waters above, new, pure water equals crystal clear ice. The waters below, old, impure water equals cloudy, white ice. To sum up, the dome is not the firmament. The dome is an electromagnetic field. Water is diamagnetic, repulsed by EM field. Waters above and waters below. Waters Freezes closest to the electromagnetic dome. Pure ice is formed and acts like a glass lens. Ice lens needed for second part of optics along with the waters above. Why do I keep showing this picture and what is it? This is called the apotheosis of Washington in the U.S. Capitol building. Apotheosis definition: the elevation of someone to divine status, deification. Time for some homework for you. Part 13, Brian Austin Lambert on the Flat Earth. Who am I? I'm just another normal dude. I am no guru, prophet, savior, or anything else. I am just a dude who has always been extremely curious in how things worked. I have a very curious mind and would get extremely frustrated with the answers the controllers gave me. Nothing ever made any sense to me. I knew there had to be another answer to the garbage that I was taught. I was that super smart kid that everyone cheated off of in class. I could recite anything and everything. My mind was like a sponge. I knew every ounce of trivia and knew all the theories and beliefs. And yet I could still not come up with the correct answer to the model of everything problem. For leisure, I would do anything that challenged my mind. I loved trying to solve anything. I never let my mind atrophy. I always challenged it to keep it sharp and working properly. My background: grew up in a small town on an orchard, normal kid, really liked girls, played sports, hence the love of 33, graduated high school 3.8 GPA, enlisted in the Army for college money in 1991, light infantry M60 machine gunner. What? Combat veteran, Somalia 1993, 3 humanitarian service awards, honorable discharge in 94. College in 1995 to 98, hated it. Wasted time and money, 176 out of 180 credits for BA in ancient history. School wouldn't accept my passing AP exam in economics, so I was pissed and didn't finish my degree. Didn't care about their worthless piece of paper because I knew I learned nothing there anyways. Worked a whole bunch of odd jobs throughout the years. Here are the main ones. Managed large dog kennel starting in 99. Accounting manager, American Red Cross, started in 05. Starting inventing in 07. Started business in 13 with plenty of jobs and night jobs in between to make ends meet. Seems like I've done everything from logging with a chainsaw and excavator to working in a pathetic cubicle. I've delivered pizzas and I've picked up dog shysta for a living. So I think that makes me a pretty normal dude. I'm broke and have a ton of debt. Yep, I'm normal. People have made a lot of comments, but the overarching negative ones have been this: it is impossible for anyone to figure out everything. That is why everyone else failed. I knew I could do it. Every problem has an answer. It just depends on how much pain and suffering one is willing to endure. And I can endure. Plus, I never said I figured out everything. I said I have the 100% correct working model of everything. Words, people, they have meanings for a reason. I also have an unwavering confidence in my mind and in myself. I know I can do anything because I do not set limitations upon myself. I feel sorry for the people that do, because they are the ones that place the shackles of bondage upon themselves. Now, I'll tell you the secret and why I succeeded and no one else did. I cheated. I listened to the elders, sages, prophets, and other ancient teachers' writings, and I listened to what they were actually saying and not what the controllers wanted me to know. That is where humility comes into play. When you humble yourself completely and realize you don't know jack shysta, then you can hear what the words are saying and the messages being conveyed. My humbling came back in 2013. My epiphany came while working on the problem of light in my garage. I had never even seen a video on the flat earth, but the answer came to me and it hit me like a ton of bricks. The surface had to be flat. My world just got turned upside down. I'm a manly man and very rarely cry, but I broke down and cried for at least an hour. I just realized everything I was taught was either a lie or false. The death of my worldview was in full force. With the death comes the 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. So I suffered and humbled myself. Then quickly everything started to fall into place. The key to the puzzle was the flat surface. Everything was solved in my model by late 2013, except for one thing: the moon. So all the things you are seeing now, I have kept to myself since 2013. I was not prepared for what I was learning. It weighed heavy on me, hence this passage. Ecclesiastes 1:18, King James Version. For in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. How was I able to solve the problem while no one else could? Well, I'm glad you asked. Like I said, I have been working on the problem for the correct working model of everything since I was 7, at various levels and stages. I'm a jack of all trades and a master of none. While everyone else was looking at the tiny slice of their pie and being compartmentalized, I was looking at the whole pie. I was looking at the forest from afar while everyone else was looking at the trees from inside of the forest. The eyes can't see what the mind doesn't know. I could see clearly after my humbling because I had eyes to see and ears to hear. Nearly 40 years of research. Here are some of the subjects I researched and tried to understand: ancient and modern history, geography, economics, political science, all religions, mythology, legends, folklore, art, architecture, literature, biology, botany, anatomy, animal and human behavior, psychology, chemistry, physics, cosmology, geology, and among many, many others. That is why I keep telling all of you to be patient. To get the truth, you have to build the foundation. I am not doing this for people that think they already know the answers. I am doing this for everyone. So please stop being selfish and be patient. There are plenty of other things you can research on YouTube if you need to kill time. Plus, I already have given you all the answers in the first few videos through the images and pictures. Again, the eyes can't see what the mind doesn't know. But as we progress and you learn the foundation, then you will be able to look back and see. The truth will be clear at the end, but I told you getting there can be tough. Now imagine my plight. I had no one to help me except ancient writings. Then I had to figure out what was legit and what was fake. Not an easy task. In order for me to teach you the model of everything, you have to learn the basics of the model first to see the truth of everything. You have to learn how to crawl before you can walk. How do I know my model is 100% correct? Because I tested it through real science, what the ancients warned and foretold, and I could not debunk it. Trust me, I tried. I equate it to turning in a math test that I knew I scored 100% because I checked all of my work. I know I am right. You will all have doubts because you didn't do the work. So your confidence will not be the same as mine. But in the end, you will know that I was 100% correct. I have never kept any notes or reference material at all to any of my work on this for many different reasons, but mainly because I don't need to. I have a really high IQ and I can remember all this stuff and just pull it from my mind. Mia and I decided just over a month ago to disseminate this truth. So I am doing each topic daily straight from my head. The order I am disclosing is the only order that can be taught. You have to learn certain truths before you can grasp the following truths. It is the only way I know how to get people to understand. Plus, you are actually watching a movie being made. I will be editing all the parts together to make a longer movie. So you're getting the truth well in advance to when it should have been came out. Comment section. I approve all comments. Keep them clean and respectful. I will not get distracted or diverted. If you bring up gravity, have a Merry effing Christmas. I will get to the point where I will not be reading them and commenting. It's just too time consuming. If you make me mad, I will banish you to Elba. Part 14. How light really moves on the flat earth. My magnus opus. Well, the controllers almost got something right. Spirals. Just not solid matter, planets, and a ginormous perpetual nuclear furnace that spirals. The light spirals. More specifically, the plasma light spirals. Yep, I've been trying to tell everyone about simplicity. The controllers, religious teachers, professors, mathematicians, engineers, theoretical scientists, etc., believe that complex means smart. Nope, sorry guys, the answers are always simple. Those letters behind someone's title and name that denote education level, status, and training mean nothing and won't get you the correct answer, except these three letters. BAL. Brian Austin Lambert. Suck it, controllers.
I don't.
What is plasma? Official explanation. Plasma is the fourth state of matter. The three other states of matter are solids, liquids, and gases. Plasma is created by adding energy to a gas. The charged particles in plasma will react strongly to EM, electromagnetic fields. If plasma loses heat, it will reform into a gas. What plasma really is? The first state of matter. EM, electromagnetic energy, converts to plasma through a magnetic bowl structure. The energy is confined and condensed into matter by temperature, hot to cold. Hottest plasma, then cools to gases, then liquids, and the coldest solids. Remember from part 3, I talked about fluid dynamics, the flow of gases and liquids while in movement. One key part the controllers forgot to mention in their definition, plasma. Plasma is a fluid also. All fluids' base movement structure is a spiral flow. Water, plasma, gases, air, etc. Water being poured from a pitcher. Spiral. Watch next time you pour any drink. Water draining in a sink. Spiral. Water in a whirlpool. Spiral. Water draining viewed from underneath. Spiral. Water in the form of urine. Spiral. Watch the flow the next time you pee. Water flushing your urine down the toilet. Spiral. Who is this man in the picture? Victor Schauberger, one of the greatest minds to ever walk the flat plane. Incredible inventor, just a glimpse of his work. You have to understand water to see the truth. Watch this video and any others about the amazing substance we call water. The Secrets of Water, the documentary of Victor Schauberger. Link will be in description. Okay, now back to fluids movement. Also the same with air, like this tornado. Spiral. Air in the form of cyclical storm systems. Spiral. Remember part 6 on how the magnetohydrodynamics works? Spiral. Same as in plasma, like in this plasma ball. Each arm spirals to the ground point. Plasma as in this spiral galaxy. Spiral. Yes, I am well aware that galaxies are not real, but this image is. I'll explain in later videos. Plasma as in this image of another structure above us. Spiral. Plasma as in this image of an ejection jet above us. Spiral. Remember the right-hand rule of electricity from part 6? Spirals are an electromagnetic phenomenon based off of this rule. Plasma light spirals because it is a fluid that is governed by the right-hand rule of electricity, simplicity at its finest. Next video, I will show how the plasma light spiral gets turned into visible light as our sun. Look at the yellowish circle part above Georgie Porgy's head. Now look at the yellow circle part in this 1606 Mercator Hondius map. Part 15, Plasma into Visible Light on the Flat Earth, my magnus opus. How do you get light from plasma that travels in a spiral pattern